This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to a very scenic and beautiful start to the sunrise safari this morning. Isn't it just stunning? We have just stopped to admire the views from the middle of quarantine to, well, enjoy the start of the morning. My name is Lauren. I do have BK on camera today, and it's rather chilly. 16 degrees Celsius. No, I think it's 15 degrees Celsius and 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's very, very cold in my opinion, and I'm wrapped up. I didn't even want to put my microphone down my back. We run the pack down my back, but it's far too cold for that, so it's in my pocket. But welcome on board, everyone. Seriously, it's great to have you here. We've got quite a few families joining us today from all around the world, including here, South Africa, USA, Singapore, Australia, Canada, and Germany. So welcome. You can send in your questions. There's an email address that's going to pop up on your screen right now, kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. You can ask us anything you would like to know about the environment out here, and we shall do our very best to answer. Don't make them too difficult, of course. And I don't have any plan for the morning. I just wanted to enjoy this incredible view and start bumbling. There was a lot of ambient light last night. It was full moon. So therefore, I was hoping that we might have some predator action. Okay, BK, let's start bumbling. This is a perfect time to catch mobile animals. It's cold. They'll be mobile and scent marking, doing their duties and trying to warm up. Most mammals will move to warm up, just like us. We are mammals. And if we're cold, we'll start doing star jumps. Okay, I have absolutely no idea where I'm sending you, but it's that time in the morning that it's all exciting. So we're going to send you over to someone to say good morning.
Here we have a beautiful flap-necked chameleon at Kruger Game Reserve, just waking up. Welcome. Here we are at Kruger, as I said. I'm Mike Anderson, and behind the camera is Alex Shapiro, and we're going to have a lovely morning. And first of all, we're going to look at this beautiful chameleon and up in all his glory, just to see what he's up to. We actually found him by accident last night coming back. Thought we might try and see if he was still there in the morning, and we were so lucky, hasn't moved even 1 inch. If you look at him there, it's just absolutely perfectly camouflaged, just a slightly lighter color than the leaves and the branches around him. Look how tightly it's holding on there. It's a daytime animal, so they move around during the day. Right now he's just waking up, starting to look around. As you see his beautiful telescopic eyes, you can see they're outside of its head, moving around independently, looking for any insects that might be moving around within reach, so it can shoot its long tongue out and catch any insects. So look at that tail as well, curled around there. It's trying to keep warm. It's quite a chilly morning, so that chameleon is trying to keep as warm as possible. You know when you're under the covers and you curl yourself up into a ball to try and keep warm? That's kind of what it looks like right now. Gripping. Look at its toes. Look at those interesting toes, all fused together. It looks like almost like if you ever watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on TV. The toes are all fused together. Really, really awesome. So as I said, this is a flap-necked chameleon, and this one is about the size of my hand. I would get out and get a bit closer, but I don't want to disturb him. It's, you know, like when you're waking up for school in the morning, and you never want anyone to actually wake you up. So I don't want to go and disturb it. I want to let it wake up on its own. When I talked about its tongue earlier, if it found a bug or something close by, it might shoot its... Oh, I saw a little shadow of a bug flying across. Oh, and its eye seems to have focused on something. See that? Oh, I wonder if it's seen something. Oh, hello. Yes, it's me, Mike. I'm looking at you. And it will shoot its tongue. In some chameleons, the tongue could be as long as its body. But right now, it's squashed up in its mouth like a spring. And if it sees something, it opens its mouth and shoots it out to grab anything that's just out of reach. Very, very awesome. I used to have a pet chameleon, actually, and it was one of the most wonderful chameleons because it always laughed at all my jokes. No one else ever does. Just kidding. Quite funny. This chameleon is going to, at some point, move to get into a better position. They're quite territorial, so we don't want to ever disturb them and make them move somewhere else, because it might bump into another chameleon and then cause some trouble. If we could see both of its eyes, you would see that those eyes are actually moving independently of each other. So that means that one eye can be looking left and right, and the other eye can be looking up and down. And that really helps it, because it's got this tongue which shoots out, so it needs to be able to judge correctly. I mean, otherwise it's just going to be getting mouthfuls of leaves every time. So having those eyes that can move around independently of each other means that they can be very accurate. And then I talked about its tail earlier. See how it's curled round like that? The tail can act as a fifth leg. So sometimes if the chameleon is trying to reach a branch that's very low, just out of reach, it will wrap its tail around the branch and lower itself down in order to be able to reach the branch. It's quite funny if you ever see a chameleon on the move. They're often waving their arms around trying to reach the branches. It's very comical. I really enjoy it. Very strong grip, even in the strongest wind. So this little bush, I mean, if you can zoom out, you can see how small this little bush is. It's not very big. If it's a strong wind, it won't shake around at all. It will stay. The tree will shake around, but the chameleon will stay exactly still and will be able to hang on, even if it needs to use its tail to wrap around. It's quite low down. Actually, it's interesting. The bush that it's in is called a cork bush. The scientific name is Mundulia sericea, if you were interested, kids. But this bush is quite often used. If you can zoom in on the branch of the bush, a bit lower down. Oh, there's a question. Oh, that's a very interesting question, Faraj. Age 7 from California. This chameleon can change to a lot of different colors. Now, I know you see on TV all these chameleons, they get put onto different things and they change to blues and purples and yellows and crazy colors. This particular chameleon, the flap-necked chameleon here in South Africa, doesn't change to all those colors. What it does is it matches its surroundings to a certain extent. So maybe green, brown, a bit of orangey, but when they get surprised or scared, you'll see its whole body, where it looks green and there's those little blotches, it will actually turn bright yellow and black stripes like a tiger. And that's a way for it to warn other animals that, hey, I'm quite bitey and I will bite and defend myself if you come too close. And it puffs its body out to look a lot bigger. And when they're walking along the road, sometimes they'll make those bright colors so that they warn anything that might see them that, hey, I'm dangerous. Not very dangerous, though, to be fair. They don't really have teeth. They've got a hard, bony plate in the mouth. But yes, quite a few colors, but only from greens to browns to yellows. Not purples and blues. Not that I've seen anyway. Maybe someone's managed to train theirs if they had one as a pet, but I certainly have never seen one changing to blue or purple. What an awesome question, though. Yeah, so this cork bush is actually, we use it often as guides, and we teach our students at eco training that they can take the bark and rub it all over their legs, and it helps to keep the bugs away. So maybe not the best place for this chameleon to catch a bug. Jennifer is asking, what do chameleons eat? I think, or no, what eats chameleons? Well, quite a lot of things actually. Lots of birds would eat chameleons. There's a type of a snake called a boomslang, which is translated from Afrikaans into English as a tree snake, and tree snakes love chameleons. They would eat them a lot. That's why this chameleon's being very, very still. Only its eyes are moving because they don't want to be spotted by anything that can that might want to eat them. A lot of other things might eat them as well. Lots of birds of prey. Now, if there's something called a southern ground hornbill, which is a very large bird with a long beak, which can also pluck these things out of these low branches and in the ground. So lots of things. That's why it says to stay very, very still and pretend like it's really tough when it does get seen by puffing up and having these bright black and white colors. I'd actually like to show you a picture of a southern ground hornbill in a moment, once I can. Yes, but he's staying very, very still. Ooh, okay, hold on a second. What we're going to do whilst we look at this this chameleon is take you to Eric at Ngala and see what he's up to this morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to And Beyond Ngala. My name is Eric, and behind me, as always, is Marcel. There's his thumbs up. You can see straight up ahead of us, we are back in the Timavati River. I'll show you exactly where on the map. And we are currently just sitting, trying to listen out for any alarm calls. So this is a map I'm sure everyone's seen before quite a lot. We start our game drive from the morning from this little dot over here, and beyond tented camp. And what we've done this morning is driven and dropped down into the riverbed. And this is around about the area where that sub-adult or that young male lion of the Birmingham Pride was seen. So that's where we're going to drive around. So we slowly but surely every now and again driving, stopping, listening, seeing if we can hear any sign of him contact calling, any alarm calls, just to see if we can catch up to him. I think it's been 3 days since we last saw him. So it'll be really nice for us to see if we can see what he's up to and how his leg's doing. Along this riverbed is an area where a female leopard and her 2 cubs sometimes hangs around, and then from that point over there we might start heading back into the southern part of the reserve and spend the morning looking for some wild dogs. It's a nice challenge to start off the morning trying to see if we can find the wild dogs, and if we find them early, it's always a lot of fun to see if they're up to something and maybe hunting. So that's pretty much what the plan is for at least for the next hour and a half or so. Another team of vehicles is heading back into the eastern part of the reserve to see if they can see what the Pride was up to last night. But we're going to carry on driving for now. Alrighty, so it seems like this morning is starting off really, really well at Djuma. Lauren, I think, is with a leopard, so let's go and see who it is.
Not just any leopard, everybody. This is my favourite leopard in the entire kingdom of leopards. This is the Duke of Djuma on patrol, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Tingana. I have not seen Tingana since the last time I saw Tingana, which was a few weeks ago now. This is our dominant territorial male, and he's walking very slowly. I just did a poo, which is very pleasant for BK and I. Oh. And we've just managed to catch up on him. He's looking a little bit small. I said to BK, is this Tingana? He's normally a lot sort of bulkier than this, but he's looking quite, I don't know, small, empty belly. You see that saggy skin under his belly? That proves his age. He's an old boy. 14 this year. He's maybe already 14. We don't, oh, there we go, BK. He's sitting perfectly. Are you doing the toilet again, my boy? Hello, handsome. Yeah, he's got an empty tummy. He's not full. Saggy skin. Saggy skin under his chin as well, which is a dewlap. Manny, you are 10 years old in Singapore. I'm not sure I got that question. Can I see animal... Oh, I'll get Natalie to repeat it, Amani. I'm sorry. We're just going to follow Tingana. How do we manage to see animal tracks when they're hidden? I'm not sure what you mean, Amani. If the tracks are hidden, then unfortunately we won't be able to see the tracks. If we can't see them, then we can't see them. And therefore we have to look for other clues. So normally, animals like Tingana, he's a dominant territorial male, and he'll walk on the roads. So what that does is show that he's dominant. So he's saying to everyone, this is my territory. I am here. No one else can come in and no one can take this territory. And therefore, he chooses to walk on roads. It's also easy for him. BK's just going to show you each side of the road. Can you see the long grass? It's very, very long. And therefore, it takes a lot more energy to walk through the grass and walk through the thicket than it does to walk on the road. He'll also vocalize. I'm hoping that we're going to hear him saw. Leopards don't roar like lions do. They saw. And therefore, this is him saying to everyone, I'm here. I'm the boss. I'm the Duke. You are not allowed to come into my territory. So this is why we pick up on his tracks quite easily, because he is walking on the roads. If they're hidden, then it becomes a lot harder for us Amani. We have to look for other clues. Maybe scat, which is what we call his poo. We call it predator scat. We maybe have to listen for audio cues. Maybe we hear him sawing from far away, but we have to think, oh, where did that noise come from? Okay, let's try and see if we can locate the animal from the noise. So there's other clues that we can look for if the tracks are hidden. I wonder if you can put any tracks on the screen, BK. Now these are going to be fresh tracks because Tingana's just making them. I think they're on the other side. Try the other side of the road where he's just walked. They're not very clear, are they? I cannot get out of the vehicle, of course, to show you, but the tracks that we see now are very fresh because he's just made them. So if I came across these tracks, Amani, I would think, oh, fresh tracks, there's a leopard in the area, and I would start to look. Okay. Just going to drive very slowly. Paloma, you are asking, is the leopard hunting? Tingana is not hunting. He's not stalking, he's not walking very fast, and he's also not trying to be discreet. Leopards hunt by stalking and in ambush, which means they need to hide so that the prey that they're stalking can't see them. They rely on camouflage, whereas he's walking on the road. Everyone can see him. So what he's doing now is he's on territorial patrol. He's patrolling. He's checking his territory, marking. I'm sure we'll see him scent mark. He's already done, well, he's done a few poos, which is delightful, but we'll also see him scoosh urine and rub his cheeks in the vegetation, and this is his way of territorial marking through scent. Leopards communicate through scent, so it's very important that he leaves his scent everywhere. Okay, we're just going to follow him very slowly. We need to give him enough room. Palacha, you're 11 years old from India. How lovely to hear from you. And you are asking that, how do I know if this leopard is male or female? Well, this is a view that we actually first had of Tingana. And if you look very closely underneath that tail, you will see his genitals. And they're very obvious as a pair of testicles. And straight away, that means I know this is a male. I happen to recognize all the leopards around here. And you can judge just from a distance by size. Tingana's big. The female leopards that we have around here are a lot smaller than Tingana. They really are. So straight away by size, you can tell we have a boy. Then you see the genitals, and you know that we have a boy. And once we see the face of a leopard, because right now we're getting a bum shot, once you see the face, we actually recognize the individual leopards. We know them. We have a sort of family out here, and we can recognize them immediately once we see their face. But straight away from a distance, you look at size, and then you try and look for genitals. It's really important. I know it sounds slightly bizarre, but it's really important that you look straight away so you know if it's a male or if it's a female. And this is an old male that we have here. I like to get in front of the leopards so we can see them walking towards the camera. But sadly, on a road like this, I don't actually have much choice. We're going to have to just stay behind them, keep our distance, give space, and slowly but surely we're going to have the sun coming up. Can you see that orange ball of gas in the sky? It's going to pop up over the horizon soon and give us the most beautiful sunrise. Sunrise and Tingana. What more does anyone want? Hello, Tingana. So lovely to see you. And I may have to call this in on the radio soon. Marco, you're 8 years old from Hanoi, Vietnam. Wow. Vietnam is my dream country. I've been to Cambodia, but I didn't quite cross over into Vietnam, which is a big regret for me. And you're asking, do they hunt alone or in groups? They definitely hunt alone. Leopards are actually solitary animals. So they are one of the, actually, they're the only predator that we have out here in Djuma Game Reserve that is solitary. Lions, you will either find the females in a pride or the males in a coalition. Cheetahs, the females are often alone, but males can form coalitions. Hyenas have a clan, so they're very social. They have clan and clan members, and wild dogs, they hunt in packs. Leopards are the only predator that's actually completely solitary. They live a life entirely on their own. You will only see leopards together when they're mating, when a male and female are mating, or when a mother has offspring, and you will see a mother with her cubs. Good morning, mobile stations. Just an update for the morning. We've located Tingana male leopard on Gallego shortcut. He's mobile. There we go. He's scent marking. Scent marking. You see that?
Can you say which road is that? I would like to join you there.
He's walking towards Gallego Pan. Scent marking. So what? A firm. Once you get closer, radio me and I'll keep you updated. So what he just did there was scoosh his urine. So he has a special pouch where he scooshes urine, and this is called marking fluid. He's marking his territory, and there'll be lots of chemicals in there that other leopards can smell. They can go, ah, this is a male, this is Tingana. He's been here recently. They'll be able to know how fresh it is, when Tingana was here, read all Tingana's hormones, and know a lot about him just from the smell. They have a special organ on the roof of their mouth, and it's called the organ of Jacobson. And this small organ in their palate, is connected to their nasal passage, reads all the chemicals. So it has chemoreceptors, which analyze all the pheromones and hormones that Tingana has just scooshed in his fluid, and then it sends a message to the brain. So the brain will understand, aha, this is a male leopard, this is Tingana. He just walked here yesterday. He's on territorial patrol. It will tell you a lot about the leopard from just tasting the air. And in order to do that, most mammals do something called a phlegm and grimace. Now, you're going to laugh at this, but it looks something like this. It's very bizarre. BK's laughing. It's really, really bizarre to watch, but what they're trying to do is get the air into their mouth so that this special organ can read all these chemicals. When you see an animal do it, it's very, very funny. Horses do it too. Lions do it. Leopards do it. Zebra do it. Most mammals do. It's called the phlegm and grimace. Okay, of course I'm going to keep up with my favourite leopard, but as I do that, Mr. Hendry is finally out and about and really wants to say good morning.
We seem to have sorted out our technical glitches, which are, well, was mostly just a fuse. And for those of you who don't worry about such things, good morning to you. I hope that you're enjoying the gorgeousness of the sunrise here in Africa. My name is James Hendry. And on camera is David. There's his thumb. And we're looking at the sunrise here. We are going to listen to the sounds of the bush now. And look at David's cleaning cloth. The main sounds we can hear are always the Cape turtle doves this time of the day. And then there's a grey-headed bushshrike way in the background. And the crested francolins. And grey-headed sparrows. Listen how it gets louder as the sun slowly comes up. Right, well that was very pleasant, wasn't it? I suppose we'd better get on with trying to find you some animals. Lovely to have the old Duke already. Good to see him. I think he looks pretty nice. He's looking pretty healthy. Let's go back to Lauren. Maybe she can give you her thoughts on where Mulwati was yesterday. He was up in what I thought was Tingana's territory, up on the northern boundary.
He's listening. Look at his tail. Look at his tail. He's twitching that tail. See it? I think our boy here is hungry. He's got his tail up, and what that normally means is a white flag. You see, he's got the white tip on display. This is a sign of peace, everyone, but I'm not sure it's 100% trustworthy. I don't think I would trust a leopard that's trying to say peace. What he's trying to do is get everybody to calm down. All the birds that might start alarm calling, the impala that might start snorting or barking. He's trying to say, hey everyone, I'm not hunting. Look at my white tail. I'm just, chilling and walking. They don't trust him. But leopards still do this. I'm just going to try and get ahead of him so we can see his beautiful face. And the moon beaky, look. Tia, you're 6 years old from Mumbai. And you're asking, how does he have so much urine to keep marking his territory? That is a really, really good question. Just like dogs, if you've ever spent time with domestic dogs, they don't scoosh that much. I always call it the scoosh pouch. They are able to store urine that is... These lapwings are very unhappy. Can you hear them? They are not happy Tingana is here. Okay, let's go round Beaky. He's going to drink. Let's go round. So yes, they store urine in a special pouch. I call it the scoosh pouch, but that is really not the correct name. And they just scoosh a little bit at a time. They keep topping it up as they hydrate, and we're about to see him drink. And the full moon. This makes up for my... Tingana is drinking. And the blacksmith lapwings ding, 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 are very unhappy about this. So yes, they're able to store urine and hold it back. Just like us, once our bladder gets full, we don't have to completely empty it. And this contains their marking fluid. It's very, very important to the likes of Tingana. He's going to be drinking for quite some time. Let's watch. So cats drink for a really long time. Tingana will be doing this for quite some time. because he doesn't actually get that much water from his tongue into his mouth. He doesn't scoop it like a dog does. It's completely different. He's darting his tongue in and out so fast that he's actually trying to defy gravity and get the smallest amount of water into his mouth at the one time. Oh, these lapwings are really not happy. Megan and Sarah, you're from Johannesburg, and you're asking, how often do leopards eat? That is a tricky question to answer because they don't need to eat every single day. The life of a predator is more feast or famine, and what that means is that they'll eat once they've got food. So let's just say Tingana hunts an impala. That's a big animal. He's not going to be able to finish that in one day. So leopards normally put their kills up trees. This is called hoisting. And they do this to keep it out of the way of any other scavenger that may want to steal it. All the predators scavenge from one another. And he can take 2 or 3 days before he's completely finished that impala. He'll eat the organs first. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but the organs contain lots of vitamins and macronutrients and minerals that Tingana needs. Then he'll work his way out and start to eat the muscle. Muscle will contain protein. So it takes a few days. It may even take up to 4 days, actually, before he finishes a carcass. And then he'll be full. His tummy will be so big, he won't have seen anything like it. And then he doesn't need to eat for a few days because he's had enough. He'll be full, it'll be time to rest and digest. So then he can go a long period of time without eating again. But leopards are very opportunistic and they snack along the way. I think leopards very often snack on birds and small rodents and scrub hares, bushveld gerbils, just to tide them along when they haven't had a big kill. Making kills take a lot of energy. They've got to stalk, they've got to hunt, they've got to be precise, be accurate. It takes a lot of energy for them to do that. Has anybody been counting how many times Tingana's tongue started in and out? It's a lot. He's a thirsty boy, that's for sure. Emma, you're 11 years old and you're asking how many leopards are on this reserve. There's 3 main dominant ones, and this is Tingana, the male, Tandy, a female who he's mated with many times and produced beautiful offspring, and their daughter, Tlalamba, Tandy and Tingana's daughter. They are the dominant ones that are on Djuma. But we get lots of other leopards that come in. Maybe their territories border onto Djuma, or maybe they're just passing through. So we have Mulwati, and his territory, he's a male, and his territory is a little bit of a mystery to me, but I'm working on it, and we think that he is the other dominant male on Djuma, but we just don't get to see him that often. He's not like Tingana. He's very shy, very skittish. We also have a male leopard called Hukamure, who looks like a little bit of a gangster. He's only got one eye, and he comes into Djuma from the west. So the little western section of our reserve belongs to Hukamuri, and he's probably Tingana's enemy. We also have other females that pop into our reserve, and that will be Shidulu, Sabui, very rarely Kuchava. So there's lots of leopards that may pop into Djuma, but the 3 main dominant ones are the one that I mentioned, Tingana, Tandy, and Kalamba. Oh no, Tingana, please don't go into this drainage. If he goes into this drainage behind us, I'm going to start up the Harbiki. I'm not going to sure if I can follow. Eugene, you are 9 years old from Oklahoma. Hold on 2 seconds. Stand by, Andrew.
Sorry, so he's mobile which direction that thing was?
He was drinking at the pan, but he's now heading into the drainage. How far out are you?
Well, still on Chikara, so I'm still quite far. Yeah, just let me know if you lose the visual there.
It's very possible we might. You're asking how do we recognize the leopards apart? Well, facially, they... Hold on a second, he just saw something. Oh, what's that? Is that a hyena? It's a hyena. He saw a hyena and he ran the other way. Sorry, Eugene, I'm going to come back to your question. I just need to keep my eye. He doesn't think the hyena's seen him. Look. Look. The hyena hasn't seen him, everybody. The hyena can smell him. He's hiding. He's laid down on the grass. He's hiding. The hyena's not seen him. But you can smell him. This hyena can smell him. Is it a hound? I'm not sure. Be careful, hyena Tungana's right there. Be careful. No, this is not hard. Sorry. Apologies. Hyena, that was brave. You just about walked into a huge male leopard, yes. You can still smell him, can't you? Mm-hmm. Hyena's another predator out here. Loves to scavenge off leopards. Loves it. Okay, I think I'm going to go forward, BK, because I can't actually see Tungana. I think he's there, but he's very well camouflaged. So, Eugene, I'm so sorry. You were asking, how do I recognize them? Facially, they're all very different. So just like you recognize humans or maybe dogs, you recognize all your neighbours' dogs and your family's dogs, you can actually recognize leopards. But it takes time. When I first arrived here, I was also very confused. Hello, Tungana. That was a bit naughty of you. You really hid from that hyena, didn't you? You didn't like that. It takes time, but they all do have a different spot pattern on that top line of their whiskers. So if you're really not sure, always check the sex. Always look for genitals and make sure you know whether it's a male or female. Once you've established that, it should be quite obvious, you check the top line, the top row of their whiskers, and look for the spot pattern. Each individual leopard has a different spot pattern. And then you should be able to start to work out who it is. Then it's also useful to know where you have seen this leopard, because they don't all move in the same place. So, for example, you will not find Hukamuri in the northeast of our reserve, ever. He will not go there. And therefore, if you find a male leopard there, you can straight away know that it's not Hukamuri. It's a process of elimination. And once you start to recognize them, you'll know them. They all do look different, I promise. Josie, you're 11 years old from Vietnam and you're asking about birthmarks. I don't know. I think you would have to be able to see their skin in order to know that, Josie. I really don't know. We don't actually get to see their skin. I'm just going to keep up with them, BK. Because it's covered by hair. So if you were to take a razor and shave the leopard, which of course we would never do, only then would you be able to see their skin. And I don't actually know. I would imagine they could have birthmarks. But I honestly don't know the answer to that. I've never seen one because you really don't see a shaved leopard. I'm afraid you only see their hair, which provides this beautiful spot pattern. Okay, this might be a bit tricky here. I'm going to have to bash through to keep up with our leopard. I'm afraid we may lose him, everyone. It is a possibility. He's going into the drainage. Okay, so as I bash through, hopefully we won't lose him. We're going to send you guys back across to Eric for an update.
Might as well. Welcome back to and.Sydney. We are still in the riverbed, and there we go. Marcel's just having a bit of difficulty finding this bird. Just look at its bill, long, slender bill, quite a bare head. This is one of the vulture species that we find here in Ngala. And with it being such a slender bill with a brown coloured head, it's called a hooded vulture. I'm sure it's just been roosting there for the whole evening, and it's just basically waiting for the day to warm up. Once there's a little bit more hot air, it will start rising, which allows this vulture to circle as high as it can, and then it will almost pick a direction to try and find some food for the day. But this vulture in particular, find, because it's one of the smallest vultures within the area, it's a very light vulture. So it can fly in less favorable conditions. And what this vulture will sometimes do is actually follow predators, specifically wild dogs, and wait for them to finish their movements for the morning. And if they've caught something, it's right there, and it might be able to come down and pick up the scraps. Because it's a smaller vulture, it won't be able to compete with the vultures like the white-backed vulture, which is probably the most common vulture we get here, as well as the lappet-faced, even the white-headed vultures are just to name a few. And when they're around the carcass, this hooded vulture takes the back seat. It will only really feed once the rest of them have finished. You see it's still tucking its head, probably underneath its wing, trying to keep warm, and the sun is just hitting it. And as it turns, I mean, I called it a brown head, but I think if the light catches it, it might actually be slightly more pink than brown. So this would be an adult hooded vulture. Like I mentioned, we're still in the riverbeds. Unfortunately, still no sign of that young male lion that we saw with the injury a couple of days ago. But I'm sure he's doing okay. He's a survivor, that one, so hopefully he's all right. See, now it's starting to get a little bit more active, so literally as soon as the sun hits it, it will start warming up, and now it's starting to wake up. You see there's a lot more movement in that head, occasionally dropping its head down and preening itself, so just cleaning its feathers. So we are going to carry on looking in the river probably for the next 10 or 15 minutes, and then we might start heading into the southern parts of the reserve, where we'll start looking for some of those wild dogs. We're going to go from one scavenger to another, and we'll see what James has.
We've got dozens of hyenas here, and they're romping around. There's huge action at the hyena den. There is Ribbon. You can see she's in the den. There's another one also jumping around, about to probably do the pirouette, and then yet further hyena action further to the east of the den. It's all happening here. As you can see, there's not much happening here at all. Everyone is fast asleep. No one has bothered to get out of bed yet. I think we'll sit here for a few minutes because Ribbon is obviously feeding her babies, and they might pop out and have a play after they've been drinking their milk. So peaceful here. It feels sometimes like the mornings should be packed full of action, and that we should be driving around at high speed, following wild dogs or lions on the hunt. And sometimes the energy of the morning just doesn't feel like that, and doesn't this morning. Well, not for me. And we arrived here, and these hyenas are perfectly at rest. In case you haven't met them before, this is the Djuma clan of hyenas. Unsurprisingly, they live at, yes, Djuma. And Ribbon is the one in the hole, and she's got two little cubs in there that are now about 7 weeks old, we think. very lucky. They'll pop out in the morning sun to warm themselves and have a play once they've finished feeding. But they might just stay inside and we might just see her ears. Oh dear, it's quite difficult to tell a male from a female hyena because they've got very similar looking private parts, which sounds very strange, doesn't it? But they do, and they are the only animals in the animal kingdom that are so difficult to tell apart. Well, not in the animal kingdom, but in the mammal class of animals. And what else is interesting is that when they're adults, the females are much bigger than the males, so that's how you can tell when they're adults. The females are much bigger than the males. Also, their private parts are slightly different shapes, and so you can tell from that, but it's not easy. You need to have seen a lot of hyenas in order to be able to tell the difference between them. All right, kiddies, or those of you younger than 18, the exclusivity to which you have been subjected over the last little while is now over. And now you must muck in with the rest. You can ask, the rest of you can ask your questions now using the hashtag WildEarth on the tweet. Otherwise, you can use the chat stream on YouTube or on Twitch. And kids, you can use those platforms too, or you can use the email address, whatever you like. We're going to sit here for another, I think, 10 minutes before we decide to press on and see what else the Lowveld has to offer us today. Just a little bit of orientation. I think a lot of the time we use terms that are probably a little confusing if you've just tuned in. The Lowveld is the area that is about 400 meters above sea level. It's on the eastern side of the Drakensberg mountain range in the northeastern parts of South Africa. And Lowveld just means lowland, basically. And so these are referred to as the lowlands. And it's characterized by this broadleafed woodland to a large extent. And in it is the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park and a lot of other private nature reserves. It's known as a very game-rich or game reserve-rich area. Sorry about that, that's just Dave cleaning the mist off the lens as the heat slowly seeps into this chilly morning. And we're on the western parts of that great wilderness, which is now 3.5 million acres, at least hectares in extent. And we're on a private reserve called Djuma. All of it open to the 3.5 million hectares that is the Limpopo Transfrontier Park. I could draw you a map, but A, I can't draw, and B, if I got out of the car to try and draw it on the sand here, I think the hyenas would take a dim view. I suspect if you'd like to see a map, Eric's probably got a really nice one in that folder of maps that he has. Palaksha, you're 11 and wondering how we name how we name hyenas. Palaksha, we name hyenas through a complicated process of voting that would make the Indian general election look like a very average Sunday afternoon game. It is often very difficult to name the hyenas because everybody has a different opinion on what they should be named. And so sometimes it's our viewers who name them, sometimes we name them, sometimes other people name them, sometimes everyone names them and then they have a fight about what they should be named. It's very complicated. There's no real method to how it's done. It's a free-for-all each time. I think Ribbon was named by a group of people who've watched these hyenas for many, many years. And she was named by them. They're a group of people that have spent a lot of time and expended a lot of energy identifying and understanding the dynamics of the Djuma clan. And so I think they're the right people to name, Ruben. So we'll give her till 7 o'clock. And then we'll press on. Just feels like one of those days, though, that we need to chill in, chill out. Chill out and listen to what's going on and see what arrives with us. Hello, Limping Lemon. What a name. Limping Lemon, you are incorrect that hyenas have both sex organs, in other words, that they are hermaphrodites. This was thought for many years to be true, and the reason that people thought it was true is that the females have got an enlarged clitoris or pseudo-penis, and it makes it extremely difficult to tell the difference between male and female. So the male penis is pinched on the end, and the female's pseudo-penis is not pinched on the end. And there are various very complicated reasons for why the females have this strange anatomy. But basically, the urogenital canal is combined, and they give birth through the pseudo-penis, they mate through the pseudo-penis, and they don't actually have a vaginal opening at all. Internally, they have a uterus, they have ovaries, same as many other carnivores, but the external genitalia and the pathways into the internal reproductive tract are extremely unusual. And this masculinization of the female hyenas is born of a lot of sort of pseudo-male hormone, androstenedione, that flows through their bodies and masculinizes their genitalia. And there are complicated evolutionary reasons for it. They're not the only mammalian species where the females dominate the males. There are a number of primate species that it happens in, a couple of whale species as well. And they are, however, the only species in which this strange genitalia occurs. And they totally dominate the males. They're much bigger than the males, and the males keep their distance when an angry female, especially a dominant angry female, is around. Megan, I couldn't tell you how old this termite mound is. It's very old, though. I would say, I'm guessing wildly here, in the region of between 50 and 100 years. We are sitting where we are now, I'm going to say 20 meters from the center of the mound, and we're still sitting on the mound. So it extends well beyond just the tip of the iceberg, as it were, that's sticking out the top. So a very old mound like this could be at least 100 years old. Remember, though, that it doesn't necessarily just grow up like this over the course of 100 years. It can grow and then be eroded away and then something might take up residence in it, which could cause it to erode away faster. Then it'll be recolonized by termites. You know, it's difficult to age them. But I'd say this one must be pushing 100. You could age them if you went right into the middle there and found some organic material from the termites that originally lived there, and carbon dated it, I suppose, or dated it in some other way. But yeah, it's difficult otherwise. And you know, in different types of soil, they grow at different speeds. This is an old one though. It's big, solid, it's very round, and it extends a long way beyond just what we're looking at here. It's an impressive construction, isn't it? You consider the tiny little things that built it. No, Castle Moat, that's also a very interesting question. It's an interesting phenomenon that happens with hyenas. Not only the male, excuse me, it's not only the dominant females that mate, which is the case in, say, wild dog packs or mongoose troops. Here, all the females can mate and all of them can have babies. They just probably wouldn't give birth to them over here. They'd probably give birth to them at a secondary den, and then when they were old enough, they'd bring them to the central or natal den of the clan. But they can, in theory, all breed. I don't know who that is. But he or she looks very satisfied and peaceful with life. Maybe she'll come over and say hello to Ribbon, which might inspire some sort of action. Come on, come over. That's it. Yes, come on. Come. Fear not. Be not afraid. No, we don't need to clean our backside now. Come on. Get on with it. I swear they know when you're waiting for them. If you lie down now, I shall be deeply upset with you. Here we go. Come on. That's what. Here we are. Yes, you can say hello to that one, but make it a perfunctory greeting. That's fine. Hi there. Sniff, sniff, lick, lick. Move on. So if you may, it depends on the age of the hyena cub. At this stage, I think these hyena cubs are probably being nursed at least twice a day, but it could be more. Now, this is a classic case of hyena greeting, where the genitalia are investigated thoroughly and smelled. I think I can hear the little ones. And I have to tell you, it does amaze me slightly that so many mammals greet each other by placing the most sensitive scent organ into the place, close to the place where the most powerful smells come from. Yeah. Or why it is that the equipment for greeting is often so close to the smelliest parts of the body. Very strange. Go ahead. I'm at the hyena den, Andrew. Not much happening here at the moment. There are 3 hyenas here. They're just getting active now. Let's go across to Lauren now. She's got some hippo, and I'll just deal with the game drive radio.
the dam. The reason I'm at the dam is quite a lot has happened since you last saw me. Tingana went into the deep, thick drainage I proceeded to follow and got stuck. Yes, quite badly stuck. There was a huge hole in Wendy's door. In fact, I can probably show it to you. I will show it to you in just a moment. And Michelle came and rescued us, so we're okay. Tingana's still there. He's slow. Can predict he's going to go one of either two ways. So I think for us right now, we want to catch up with him again. It's going to be worthwhile just staying stationary at the dam. There's a lot to see here. There's Dewey the hippo, and then there's a lovely Egyptian geese family just over here, BK. And I think it's well worth just sitting here listening for alarm calls, listening for sounds, and seeing where Tingana pops back up again. And it's funny, Davi and I were just talking the other day about how leopards can give you the slip, especially the females, but Tingana never will. Well, never say never, ladies and gentlemen. It appears I just got the slip. Going through that drainage was rather entertaining. Anyway, look how big the little ducklings have got, or the goslings, sorry. Doesn't it look so peaceful, swimming across the dam like that? This is a very, very gorgeous dam. I wonder how long it'll take to disappear going into winter. It's the fullest it's ever been in a long time. Danielle, only Dewey in this dam. I'll go back to the hippo beaks. Only Dewey, which is, well, he's been recently nicknamed. He was just hippo before, and he's the only male in this dam. Now, there's a few hippos now in Buffelshoek Dam. Treehouse and Twin Dams are completely absent of hippos, and the bulk of hippos that we used to find was at Chitwa. So, of course, it all depends on water movement, water levels, other hippos. Males clash, especially dominant males. But in this dam right here, we're at Vuatella Dam, right beside the dam cam, and we only have one, and this is Dewey. Now, any zoomies or dam cam watchers, keep your eye on the dam cam. We're obviously on the dam wall, but Tingana's going to pop out somewhere. I think it's too cold right now for him to go flat. I think he'll keep moving until the sun pops up. And once that sun pops up and provides warmth, then I think he'll go flat. So anybody who's watching the dam cam, you can assist me. Let's all try and find Mr. Tingana. He's somewhere in this drainage. And you know, come winter, when all the vegetation recedes and dies, the landscape's going to completely change. You will all be shocked at the difference, and it'll be so much easier to follow animals through the block. In fact, it'll be a pleasure to follow animals, but in summer, it's just so thick. I'm going to try and show you the door. Hold on a second. I have to take my earpiece out for this, so Natalie, if you do talk, I will not be able to hear you. But this is going to be rather entertaining for you all. I'm not going to get out of the vehicle, but I am going to try and open the door. PK, by any chance, are you able to capture that? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wendy's new door. She's had a bit of a makeover. And yes, isn't that just beautiful? It gives her a bit of style, I feel. I feel Wendy needed a bit of a revamp. And this is, yeah. I'm sorry, Wendy. I do love Wendy. Yes, I've got my earpiece back in. So I'm going to try and look for Tingana, and it appears that the hyena cubs are out at the den.
Hooray, look at this. Joy and rapture. Hyena bebes. Hello, little hyena bebe. Two hyena bebes. One definitely still more confident than the other. sweet. We're so lucky with these things, you know. It's so lucky to have a den. I must say, though, their activity times do seem to be massively random. You can't pitch up here at a predictable time of day and know that they'll be out. Ooh. It's interesting. If this hyena has ruined our day with the cubs, I shall be deeply upset. Go away. Isn't that Comet? Original fist, apparently the slope on the hyena's back and the back of most animals that are sloped like this, such as the wildebeest, is stamina. Apparently it confers some kind of physiological advantage that means they can run for a long time without having to stop. And that how that's facilitated by the sloping back, I don't really understand. But that's what it is. I used to think that it therefore would mean that they were a bit slower than some other creatures, and hyenas are a bit, but it's not because of the sloping back, I don't think. Wildebeest are actually renowned for being very fast, and they've got the same design. I'm not entirely convinced I buy that argument. You know, we talk about wildebeest as these great migrating creatures, but if you actually look at the total distance they cover on a daily basis, it's really not a lot. You wouldn't, as a human being, wouldn't struggle to cover those distances at all. No, you're now causing a problem. Let's see if the little ones come out now. Oh, there we go. Yes, here we are. Some biting of stick. Now, who is this other hyena? Does anyone know? I'm sure that there are people who know, so let us know using the hashtag WildEarth. Because if it's Comet, I suspect that he's the father. But definitely the cubs are a little reticent to come out with him lying there. Which is quite interesting. There we are. There's another vehicle coming in, and quite interestingly, the cub immediately ran back inside. So they're very aware of the vehicles. Okay, the unknown explorer says that this is Djuma. So, I think Djuma's oh gosh, is Djuma male or female? I can't remember. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Sorry, I'm just trying to direct the others in. just quickly open my hyena data. It's been so long that I've spent extended periods with these magnificent creatures, and my small brain simply